Good morning, everybody, and welcome to today's episode of Market Check brought to you by BB. There is no second best daily YouTube live stream to talk about the markets. Welcome back, guys. Happy Friday. Hopefully you enjoyed your holiday yesterday. I mean, this is kind of like, in a way, your second Friday of the week. I don't know if you guys can relate, but yesterday felt like a weekend, but then, I'm waking up for work today. It's I don't really know how to describe it, but regardless, guys, I'm Tommy. You also know me as Snorlax. I'm joined by Tucker and, of course, Prometheus. Welcome, guys. We're going to have a great show for you today. Send you off the right way into your weekend. I think we had FOMC on Wednesday. It's been a bit of a busy, hectic week. We got a 2-week deadline basically put on the whole Iran and Israel conflict, which is really kind of driving markets, whether we like it or not. But ironically, I think the date that deadline's supposed to be is July 4th, which is, I guess you can take from that what you will. But we're going to talk about the market today. Obviously, we're going to talk about, I think, a myriad of different scenarios, right? What's going to happen if Bitcoin drops lower from here? What happens if Bitcoin's going to pump from here? What that means for altcoins, and of course, how equities fit into the equation as well. But before we can do that, before we can get more granular on these topics, break down how we're viewing the market, I'm going to ask if you guys can hit the like button. It's Friday. You're just coming off a holiday. I hope I caught you in a good enough mood for you guys to smash, slam, destroy, annihilate that like button for us. I'm sure one of these days I'll come up with a new verb for you guys to be able to smash that like button as well. But yeah, we're always appreciative when you guys do that. You help us continue to grow our YouTube channel and ultimately reach a bigger audience. But yeah, without further ado, let's get into the meat and potatoes of the market. Bitcoin is just kind of it's compressing. Let's call it what it is. It's been compressing since mid-May. Same with ETH, which is, admittedly an absolute chop fest on everybody's accounts who's trying to trade this, right? Are you trying to catch a breakout? Are you trying to catch a breakdown? Is the top in? Are we about to go parabolic? I know these are questions that we're all kind of asking ourselves as Bitcoin's just kind of waffling here around previous all-time highs. From a level standpoint, I have to imagine Bitcoin back above 110K. Be a very positive sign, obviously, right? You'd be going into price discovery. But I also think when you take into context the entirety of this compression that Bitcoin has been in, 6 weeks, a lot has happened in the last 6 weeks during or kind of in this consolidation. We saw James Wynn get heavily distributed on and seemingly liquidated. And we've had a lot of other conflicts, and Bitcoin's still holding strong. Is it a delayed reaction one way or the other? Like I said, we're going to talk about that and more on this show. But I think market structure breaks given this compression here, and given the fact that it's also at a value area high. If we're measuring it effectively from the December highs, the election pump, I would say compression breaks should be respected, whether they are up or down. So whether we go above 110 or whether we go below 101, 102, we're probably going to get a very aggressive trending move from this market structure on Bitcoin. And I think altcoins kind of back that up as well. Bitcoin looks a lot better than alts. Stop me if you've heard this before. But that is, the slate that we come into with this week once again, including the heaviest object in the universe, Solana. Sorry, I just had to get that shot in. Me fudding Sol is going to be me fudding ETH. It's the new era. But equities are, I guess we were green. We flipped red. We'll see how we trade kind of here into the end of the week. And obviously here over the next 2 weeks, Trump gave the market kind of his timeline. I do think in general, our trending move will probably be based on Middle Eastern conflict, which is really unfortunate, right? Because you'd love for that not to be the case. But unfortunately, if the conflict's resolved, market's probably going to gap up. If the conflict escalates, the market will probably dump. And it is, I think, in a way, kind of that simple. And will likely lead you in this compression for Bitcoin as well. And obviously altcoins will fall in line as they always do. But how are we doing, guys? What are we seeing in the markets?
Tommy, this I actually just looked at is super interesting. Do you see what I see right here? Like this.
I do.
Yeah, like this really looks like where we're at right now. Like,
I
and
think there's some precedents too for like 2019 price action as well.
I mean, like, like fill this gap and then just melt up again. Like,
I think equities look, I mean, much better than altcoins. We'll say that.
I mean, yeah.
It's a good thing that Bitcoin trades mostly correlated with equities, and I think a big reason why I'm going to keep being a Bitcoin dominance bull.
I mean, it'd be like this a little bit. Yeah.
I could see it. Looks clean.
Looks clean, man. Looks super similar. But yeah, like Bitcoin dominance has been grinding higher this whole time. Like while Bitcoin's been in this range since beginning of May, just grinding higher.
Yeah, I think the risk to equities, it's always funny how the charts line up, right, with everything that's going on in the world. But I think yields are going to play a big role, and it's a big question that I kind of have personally. Are we just going to shrug off yields moving higher here, specifically equities? Like, are equities just going to keep chatting higher as long as growth is positive? And you keep getting, I made this joke on the morning call, but like you get this steepener. Macro people love to use that word to sound really smart. But right, you see yields going higher with the market, which you can see happen if there's nothing wrong with growth. But I do think yields are going higher. I am very curious to see how that impacts equities here over the next few weeks, because man, like I have a very high level of conviction we're going to see that 10-year, 20, 30-year yields make some move to the north here over the next 4 to 6 weeks, just based on TLT. So what does that mean for risk?
Kind of looks like Solana, man. I'm not going to lie.
Oh, that does look like Sol.
Doesn't it, bro? Like where?
A little bit. I mean, I think it's probably a lot to do with USD JPY, which I have not taken a look at in a few weeks.
Like,
It looks like, yeah, like back in Solana back in 24, before it had its big move up at the end of 24. Yeah. If you go on the if you like go on the lower time frame on Sol, yeah.
Yeah, let me do this a little different. Let me do this.
And it's also interesting too that the real quick on the like Middle East conflict topic, that lines up with tariff deadlines. You notice that? Like he's trying to do something. And I talked about it in the Discord, but if you see some resolution, like the markets are going to giga chad higher because nobody's expecting it right now. But yeah, I mean, that looks really similar. Look at that.
Dude, but I mean, even like the whole thing, like, I don't know.
I think we're like pre-parabola, potentially.
You think we're pre this?
Yeah, like pre-end of 24. Yeah.
Could see it.
Kind of like you're like holding those range lows. There's like super strong structural demand. I mean, people are going to think it's distributive and they're going to get their faces ripped off.
Those highs look like they're about to get destroyed. If you were trading like a shit coin.
Yeah, dude, this is like
I mean, I don't know if we're going that high on it, but like,
no,
I mean, this to me.
He saw the squiggle. He goes, "Whoa, whoa, whoa!"
Yeah,
whoa. I mean, we've talked about this. I feel like since 2023, how similar yields and TLT look to the Bitcoin top from 2021. It's just missing, I think, that final push above those highs before you can start to see the rate cuts and the downtrend occur in yields.
Yeah. Did you guys see Waller's comments about the potential rate cut in July?
I did. What do you think
What do you
about
guys think
that?
about? Oh, there it is. Yeah, jinx.
Reverse Uno.
I think it's still too early. I still think it's going to get pushed out into September, unless potentially with the reason why I think maybe those comments were made is in light of a few things, like right in the lieu of a few things. One, I think potentially, even though Trump is putting up this front, that there's this tension, you know, between him and Powell, whether that, you know, is real or not is to be determined. But I think that, you know, he's kind of playing the markets in the standpoint that behind the curtains, him and Powell could be potentially having conversations with one another. And he could have gone to Powell and said, hey, you know, here come the deadline in July, because Trump is getting pushed back into a corner, that he's probably going to be continuing to step back on the, you know, tariff quote unquote escalation. And that's maybe giving the Fed potentially that green light for the cut in July. And he's saying, hey, the cuts are probably more important from a you know, spending perspective than the revenue generating perspective of the tariffs. So that's kind of what I think is going on there. I think they're playing some games with the market, and in the back, you know, in the locker room behind the scenes, they're probably going like, hey, this is really what's going to go on. Let's do something. So
Seems logical. I yeah, I mean, I think this is something we talked about on this show before, that in the sense that it's pretty clear Trump is not happy with Powell. We can publicly see that from his comments. I don't know what's happening from behind closed doors, but he wants him to cut. He's not going to. I don't think Powell is going to be late. And by installing like a pseudo Fed chair, you kind of limit Powell's influence in a way, which has kind of been something I've been wondering, are we going to see that ahead of the end of the ending of his term, which I think is like the middle of next year. But, you know, I mean, it's kind of like, it kind of needs to happen now, or I feel like the damage is already done. How long can you keep rates this elevated? And at this point, you know, it looks like bonds are going to get smashed next, which is going to put more stress on banks. Rates should, I guess I don't see all the data. You know, I'm not an economist, but from the market's perspective, you kind of need rates to be cut. From a bank's perspective, you kind of need rates to be cut. But I understand from Powell's perspective, you don't want to be the guy that causes that resurgence in inflation. So it is a bit of a difficult task, especially, I guess, with the tariff information. But I don't know. I mean, I guess we'll just see what they prioritize more. I think we will not see rate cuts at the July meeting, but we will find out, I think, exactly when they're happening. Maybe it's a September thing. I don't know, but I do think we're getting very close to the top on yields. Been waiting for that final push up for a few months now. I think we're finally going to get it.
You've been calling for it for a while, man. Calling for it for a while. Sorry, I interrupted you.
Yeah, we pushed up in during that whole, obviously, I wouldn't call it a crisis back in April, but the tariff tantrum. We didn't get the breakout, though. I do think it still makes sense for this to happen now, probably over the summer. And I think equities are just going to have to move up in spite of it. So it'll be a real test of the market strength, I think, this summer.
Do you think that this comment, like without tariffs, there would have been a rate cut already?
I think so.
Yeah, could be.
There's probably a lot of truth to that statement. Because Powell, I remember he specifically mentioned on Wednesday, they're starting to see some of the tariff stuff reflected in the data.
Mm-hmm.
But it is funny. I see somebody already pointing it out in the comments. Like, I think so many other countries have basically already cut to zero, and America is not doing that.
Yeah.
So it does kind of make you wonder a little bit, like, is this all tariff driven, or maybe there's some political motivation here too? I'm not going to speculate on that, but maybe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Look at this. Wait for it.
Dude, that weekly chart
Have you
is
been having fun?
horrendous.
Wait. This is even better. Have you been having fun?
No,
Dude.
no, I have not.
Even more compressive in nature than Bitcoin at that like 25K range, which is kind of wild to think about. Look at that. That is insanity,
Crazy,
man.
dude.
Driving everybody nuts. Trying to trade that too. Ugh. Ugh.
I think
It's
the flip
just
side is if you get another like extreme move out of this value area, if it reclaims back within it, it's probably like the freest trade that you'll take all year.
yeah.
Like if
Yeah.
we get a
I mean,
downside deviation that reclaims value area low, that to
Mhm.
me it would be like a free long,
yeah.
probably into 3K and above. But you know, at the same time, if you get a compression break that does not accept back into the value, then you're probably about to get a trending move anyway.
Yeah, I think that however it resolves, breakout, breakdown, it's a pretty free long or short. Like, I've been talking about the Discord with it because if you get a breakout here to the upside, that's in confluence with Bitcoin and new all-time highs in price discovery. And playing a catch up in easy mode is not hard. You find some altcoins, crank the leverage, generally works out.
Leverage generally works out.
Yeah, I mean, truthfully, like really, like that's just what
Yeah.
it is. Bitcoin and price discovery usually come 2 weeks, alts fly. Whereas we start to break down here, you can find some of these like stronger altcoins. I shorted SPX 6900 the other day, posted that for the Discord, and it's already down 12%. And if we break down further, I mean, it's going to pull a fart coin, and you're probably going to come back down under $1. So it's not.
So
It's
here's a
not too
question I have
difficult.
for you guys.
Hmm.
And I agree with the bias Prometheus of looking at some of these altcoins that have kind of lost their trend a bit. And I think they are especially reliant on what Bitcoin and ETH are going to do next, because if they break these ranges to the downside, some of these alts are going to look like a slaughterhouse. But they haven't yet, so we're not going to talk about that just yet. But with ETH, okay, Tucker, can you put yields or to even TLT, actually put TLT next to ETH? I want to see something.
What time frame?
I mean, probably this one. I just want to see if they're trading correlated.
I see a comment that says crab wins. I'm telling you right now, Chud Jacks are about to get blown out. It's here
Since early May, are they trading correlated?
Early May. So right here. I mean, let's see.
They're somewhat correlated. I'm just wondering if we're about to see TLT puke. Does that mean we're about to see ETH puke also?
Early May.
From a market dynamics
know,
perspective, you'd expect so.
Let's get this into
But I want to highlight again. I think it's been Capital Flows who's I really like his stuff recently, kind of talking about how the market can move higher with yields moving higher. But this to me looks a little bit like that might not be the case.
Yeah. I mean, I get the perspective. I get where he's coming from. I think too, contextually, like how the move is occurring, the velocity of the move plays a big, like that's a big piece of the pie, right? And whether or not you get, equities up, rates up, right? If you get equities up, rates up, I think it needs to be probably more of a controlled stair step up almost, right? Alongside economic data remaining strong, growth still looking good. If you just get this monster move in yields, it's probably spurred on by something that's not so risk on, and the growth aspect and nature of where the markets are currently at, I think does not outweigh that kind of move.
I mean, so we've been. I mean, it's basically been, generally up, sideways, Bitcoin up a lot, right?
Yeah.
Since the bottom. So it has been trading pretty much in tandem, like especially like this move up, this move up, this move down, this move down. Like it has been pretty good. Now you have had, deviations to that correlation, right? Like you had this move down when Bitcoin went up.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, there's not a ton of signal, I don't think. But
I mean, that decoupling too from Bitcoin. I mean, ETF.
I mean, do you think the next move they're coupled or not?
You think the next move? Are
Like,
you
I'm
asking?
saying, like,
the
yeah,
next
yeah.
move?
Like, do you think they're gonna move together on the next up or down?
Guess that's a
Yeah, I
million
think. Yeah, it is $1 million question.
Yeah.
It's like I said, it just depends on like the context of how it's occurring.
Because even this little move up, we saw yields go up. And
Yeah,
then
I mean,
they
if we're
pulled
talking
back,
from like
pulled back.
if we're talking from like a probabilities perspective, and from a correlation, I would expect so. I would expect so.
Mhm. I can
The
even.
markets have looked resilient. I mean, all else aside, like with how disgusting price has been, I mean, the markets are resilient. We were talking about that before the show started, right? You like Tucker like circled it. He's like, "This is World War III on the chart." We haven't even
Dude,
moved.
yeah. I'll do it again right now. Like,
Yeah.
look at this.
How
Like,
would you guys interpret the conflict if we see a nuke dropped? Not by Iran, but like I think there's a decent chance that Fort Al. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that
Well, it would
correctly.
be a GBU-57.
look,
The nuclear enrichment plant in Iran is a target. If that gets nuked, I cannot imagine the market is going to like that.
this
Well, you
is
mean blow
the
it up? We
conflict
wouldn't
right
nuke
here.
it.
Some people don't even think nukes exist. I have to also throw out that
Wait,
that
what?
scenario. You haven't heard that?
That's crazy
That nukes
talk.
don't actually exist?
That's crazy talk. I think Hiroshima would beg to differ, but no. I mean, yeah, Tucker has it marked out. I mean, the markets have been so resilient. Trump and Elon going Twitter fingers had more of an impact on the markets than
Yeah.
Israel and Iran blowing each other up. That's crazy. Like that is crazy.
I mean, like this was just for fun. Like, you know what I mean? Like, this drop, like, and then you get, the potential for World War III, and it's just 110 down to 102. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
The market direction and like the nature of the market is it one's high right now. I think you have to have some serious things go wrong really to send this market meaningfully lower. Yeah. It's going to be, in lieu and in light of like something's happening probably, like something major happening. But Tommy and I talked about it, like you lose that low at I've been calling like 102.6 is you don't want to lose that low. Tommy's been calling 100K. Structurally, yeah, I mean your next support after that is really like 93 to like 95K. That would backfill the entire inefficiency that we've left on the way up, besides 88. But that would then be our next like okay, see how we're behaving if we do lose those lows. But until then, the markets we're just kind of hanging out. We're just hanging out.
Hanging around,
Yeah.
yeah.
Bro, if you pull up SPX 6900 and look at Fartcoin next to it,
Here, why don't you pull up your chart for it if you've got it ready?
All right.
I know you got it ready, bro.
I have proprietary information. I can't expose it. Yeah, let me pull it up here in a second. Let me get it ready. What are your guys' thoughts on Hyperliquid here?
What are your thoughts on
guys?
Chill House? Kidding.
Yeah.
I don't love this. I don't love this.
Yeah, but it's been up only literally since the lows.
Yeah.
I'm kind of surprised it topped out at like $42, but I don't know. I mean, I think that you could always argue that this chart is just pulling what BNB did in the last cycle. Probably needs like 2 mini cycles before the real big one. I still think that's probably what I see, at least. I don't know. I think you're going to get the chance to buy dips on this one. I'm not in any rush to make a move on this coin, but I think if the trend is broken, you'll have plenty of opportunities here in a few months to buy some really nice discounts on it. I don't think it's going to make new lows, but that doesn't mean, you can't get some hefty It's crypto after all. Like, we're up 400, 500% from the lows. You can pull. I make this comment all the time. There is an 80% drawdown waiting for every altcoin at some point. It's just a matter of timing.
Yeah. So I was telling
I don't
people
think this is going to draw down 80%, but sorry, Prometheus. I just had to say that.
No, you're good. No, you're good. I mean, I get it. It's very, like, I've been telling people that with Kita, I mean, it was a rocket ship for like 45 days. I mean, literally up only. And, I told them better be taking profits, because at some point, this thing is going to see a monster pullback. And I mean, that's what we've seen. Just like with Fartcoin, just like with SPX 6900, all these market leaders eventually are going to be getting, big pullbacks along the way. And you can look for continuation afterwards, depending on market conditions and, how the chart's looking and whether or not it still has mind share. But, a lot of these people have pretty outrageous price targets based off of market conditions. And it's important to be more like conservative in nature, especially from a cyclical perspective on what we've seen so far. From my standpoint, like, it's much better to be conservative in nature.
Yeah.
I mean, we haven't really seen parabolic appreciation from assets as large as Hyperliquid in the same way that we would have in previous cycles. So, I understand it is dominating mind share. It's dominating attention, a lot of volume, new people coming on board of the exchange. But I mean, you pointed it out, Prometheus. I think maxis for Hyperliquid, they're not wrong to be maxis, because for one, the coin's been really strong and it probably made them very rich on the airdrop. But I make this comment all the time. Maxis will make the most money and they will round trip the most money.
Yep. Yeah, fully. Let me get this SPX Fartcoin chart up here for you guys.
Yeah, let's see it.
Let's look at our other previous market leader, Fartcoin.
Bang. Dude,
Wow.
The structural similarities are pretty uncanny. I think, we're coming back down into the support here on SPX. We had that rising channel, and especially on the lower time frame, once you broke structure, SPX, you broke structure right here. And then in lieu, we had the move down today that we had today, similar to what we have on Fartcoin, down into structural demand. I was looking at this, and I think I was comparing Fartcoin to, what was I comparing it to previously? I was comparing it to another chart. I can't remember. Maybe it was Hyperliquid, but like the stair step nature up, right? And typically it's really interesting when you go from one market leader to the next and how similar like the charts look. Like from Fartcoin to Hyperliquid to SPX 6900, right? They're so similar. You know, per is a lot of similarities to this, but you've got this, you know, big parabolic meteoric rise from, you know, back at the beginning of this year, the end of last year, these long basing out structures, nice strong moves off the lows back to new all-time highs with an unsuccessful breakouts. And then now it's just kind of like, okay, you break structure, you're now targeting your next demand levels, and that's where we're coming into right now. Similar like SPX, I'm sure my TP1 just got hit, but had our TP1 hit, similar to Fartcoin. Could you get, you know, one drive higher and then this thing really start to cool off in mindshare in regards to SPX 6900? I believe so. It's been really difficult for things to like capture mindshare for prolonged periods of time. Like Fartcoin off the lows. You remember how hot this thing was? Everybody talking about it. Like it was some
Unintended.
hot. Yeah, it was hot farts. It was explosive diarrhea. You know, big moves off the lows. Everybody talking about Fartcoin. Like it was getting talked about on like CNBC, right? And then now, you know, and then that like mindshare starts to wane and Solana cools off. Fartcoin really starts to have that pullback, loses mindshare. You then have other names catch up, SPX 6900 being one of them. And it's had all this mindshare, right? Everybody's like, oh, it's going to new all-time highs. This thing's going, you know, to like $10, yada, yada, yada. And okay, now we're in like, you know, we've changed our market structure characteristic now to bearish. And as this thing starts to cool off, from what we've seen based off of previous market leaders, it's probably going to lose mindshare. And it's probably, you know, could this bounce out of here and, you know, have it get one more, you know, move back up into here, probably sweep the shoulder, these highs of the shoulder, grab the last little bit of that liquidity before lower, most likely. You know, most likely. So I'm definitely kind of keeping my eyes on this. If you're in the Discord, as you know, you're listening to it now. If you're listening to the show right now and you took this short with me, TP1's hit. So there you go. Yeah, and then like again, we
ETH
look
stuff
at
has been stronger than Sol stuff.
it
You know, I
has
don't
been.
have to beat a dead horse, but
Yeah, it has
it's
been.
like the
But
market is rejecting Sol coins right now out of like disgust.
yeah. No, I mean fully. And you look at, I mean, Solana, let me throw up like total 2, total 3 here. We're at like such a key inflection point on all these charts, right? Let me move these to new pane. But it's like all these altcoin charts, it's really hard to, you know, believe that altcoins don't get absolutely eviscerated if Bitcoin breaks down here. I mean,
100%.
you know, it's and that's in confluence with Bitcoin dominance probably going much higher. But let me continue to throw some charts on here.
I think Sol has to hold this level.
Yeah.
Because if it doesn't, it's structurally on a higher time frame, a lower high.
Yeah.
And in that case, you know, it's a nasty outlook, because if we're talking about Sol pairs putting in huge moves and Bitcoin breaks down, Sol is beyond cooked in that scenario. So it has to hold this level. If you are a Solana bull, pray.
I completely agree. If you lose this level, I mean, 125 is your next stop. And if it does not hold 125, new lows, like double digits. So
Where it belongs.
yeah. I mean, truthfully speaking, the pump fund, dumpster fire that was ultimately that was supporting price, in the nature of the casino and the gambling mentality and all that. Um,
Prometheus, what do
it's
you
about
think about? Oh, wait, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
no, go ahead.
I was going to say, what do you think about Sol's relative valuation with Pump Fund launching a token? Because my first thought when somebody brought it up to me was, okay, Pump Fund at 4 billion is way too high. But then I thought about it a little more, and I'm thinking to myself, well, maybe not everybody is using Pump Fund, but I would say a huge majority of the on-chain activity, the organic on-chain activity on Solana right now, not like any fake DeFi transactions or anything like that, but organic activity is trading Pump Fund coins or coins that just
Yeah.
got spun up. So, where it almost makes me feel like Sol needs to be repriced a lot lower, but I don't know what your opinion on that is. Because it's 80 billion. It's 80 billion market cap right now, for perspective.
Oh, Solana.
Yes.
Yeah.
Pump Fund's 4.
Yeah. Yeah, it's an interesting dynamic. It really is, because like you said, the on-chain is still bidding Pump Fund stuff. Like that is still what's hot. And as we move forward, I don't think it's necessarily like from the perspective that Solana's dead, quote unquote, but yes, like that repricing where the markets shift away from casino mentality. And I've been talking about this for a long time. The market's shifting away from that casino mentality and truly the okay, like tech is good narrative coming back. Like the RWA focus, the utility focused, BlackRock's bidding ETH like madmen. You had names like Kita go absolutely ballistic and nuts, continued institutional integration and adoption. And I think the market is healing in a way, right? Because it is such a pure capitalistic market. It is such a pure capitalistic market. And when you get extremities on either side, it's very, it's not necessarily quick to, but the nature of it is to shift, right? Whereas you don't necessarily see that much in equity land. It's very fluid in crypto, and you can see it happen, almost daily, right? And so getting away from that like casino mentality, like rug everybody, bundle every scam, is going to go back towards RWAs because of people getting burned. And so I don't necessarily think it's like a Solana's like shit kind of, it's a horrible, I don't think it's going to be similar to what it was like with Ethereum, where everybody's like, Ethereum's dead, like, yada, yada, yada. I think it's going to be more focused along the lines where, no, Solana, you just go to gamble. And that's what it is. And that's probably the conversation that's probably where it'll stick to. So it's kind of what I think with that. And the repricing probably does occur to the downside with Solana. So.
I mean, if it doesn't, it's because Bitcoin and ETH went higher and Sol is just kind of going sideways.
Right. Yeah. Fully.
Which I also, we need to also point out, if Sol pairs are about to get hammered, that means that ETH and Bitcoin could potentially be about to go up a lot, which is kind of the crux of this conundrum I've found myself in, is that I know a huge move in the market is coming. Summer crabs are not going to get paid, in my opinion. You have been paid thus far. I think if you are shorting vol either directly or through indirect methods, you are not going to win this summer. That's just my opinion.
Yeah. I'm very much in the same camp. Big move imminent very, very soon. And whether it's to the upside or the downside, place your bet. It's going to be monstrous, but I do think if we have a breakout rather than a breakdown, the move to the upside is in magnitudes larger than the move to the downside due to positioning in the market right now. People are hedged. People are prepared for downside. People are not prepared for a resolution, for a ceasefire at all. At all. People are scared right now. The market is uncertain. And if you see resolution, if you see the dust settle in a big way, that move is going to be big. It's going to be big, big, big.
I do agree with that. It's kind of hard for me to see it de-escalating at this point.
Yeah.
As an aside, I just think the conflict has come to the point where you've basically crippled Iran's defenses. If your motivation was to, who knows what their motivation is? At the very least, you want to take out their nuclear capability, but the hard part's already done. You just kind of need to deliver the final blow. You've already come far enough at this point that I don't think they're not going to do that. The regime change aspect is probably still up in the air, but the nuclear facilities, I just can't imagine that they're not going to get destroyed at this point. I mean, the obvious worry you'd have, though, is that if the U.S. gets involved, I mean, that opens the door for China and Russia to get involved too.
That's the concern for sure.
Yep.
Like the other day, Russia said, like, basically, you guys need to chill. And then today, it was like U.S. targeting Iran allies' chip facilities in China. And I'm like, Jesus Christ, guys, like, we need to, this can't become bigger than it is, hopefully. Like, that would not be good for anybody.
Cooler heads prevail, we hope.
Yes.
But I think at this point, I think we're getting a little bit more escalation at the very least, and a lot more escalation at worst. But the market, the market's been resilient. And I feel like whenever we get the climax for this event, it's going to be a pretty significant market bottom.
I agree.
Markets hate uncertainty. Trump kind of gave us like the ultimate uncertain carrot on the stick into the 4th of July.
Yeah. I was listening to Jim Carson yesterday, actually, and his takes are just so interesting. You got to think too, based off of just based off of flows. Really, nobody's wanting to like warehouse this risk right now.
Mm-hmm.
And what happens if we get like some meaningful resolution? Like, seriously, like, I think the move could just be so monstrous to the upside. I really do. And that's why I think the risk is to the upside, because playing, but from a positioning standpoint, it would be easier to play catch up move to the upside than to the downside, though, from here. So it's like the dynamic's very interesting, right?
Mm-hmm.
Be positioned for downside, be fluid. If we get breakout and expansion and resolution, yada, 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 you can play catch up all day long. That's not difficult, especially with Bitcoin and new all-time highs. Pick your favorite shitcoin, probably does numbers, right? But where alts are at and how they've already gotten kind of eviscerated, it's like it's going to be really hard to play catch up to the downside if we do have a breakdown, so that's where I'm at with it.
What do you have on here? Total?
Yeah, so I just kind of got Solana total. Yeah. And just going to show like how important the levels are right here, you look at total, we're at this like super high time frame demand level, right underneath this descending trend line. In confluence with the compression, we've seen Solana at, again, massive high time frame demand level. You don't want to see it lose. Otherwise, it's lights out. Your next spot's 125 at minimum. total 3, very similar stance. You've backfilled the entire inefficiency from the move up at the beginning of May. You're down now at that breaker block, or the order block, and it's like, okay, like it's go mode for the markets now. Like it's put up or shut up time. We're at the wall. You're kind of like lined up, and yeah, I want to see this resolve higher. Otherwise, it's
Throw
not
up
so
like
pretty.
throw up others and throw up Pepe too. And you might have to get rid of the RSI down there, but
Yeah.
like just like where they are in relation to that same order block.
Pepe is very similar. I haven't checked. I think others is very similar to the order block from total.
Do new pane below. Or wait, do you have all these in the same chart?
Yep.
Oh, okay, never mind.
Where's Pepe? Where's Pepe?
Yeah, see, Pepe's not quite to that same order block yet.
Pepe's got to bounce from here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just like Sol in that sense. Like it's got to bounce from here. You're looking at a market structure break, and at the very least, threatening a retracement of the entire impulse that we put in early May.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, more or less. Like, yeah, line in the sand. You don't have much lower to go really. And like Tommy said, you don't want to see a retrace of the entire impulse.
Mm-mm.
That's not pretty.
I mean, they really screwed both sides on Pepe there. Like everybody looking for the BART in like at the end of May did not get it, you know.
Nope.
I don't mind the slow bleed down into support though, honestly.
Right. I do agree with that because we've seen Pepe put in structure like that multiple times and result to the upside.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like just scroll back on the chart like just a little bit. Like, yeah, like right there. Like when it like down, yeah, like down left. You know what I mean? Like that, all of that looks pretty damn similar to me.
Yep. Yeah, I agree.
Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, I want to see Pepe hold here, but I mean, it's really just what majors are going to do. You know what I'm saying? It's like everything. Pepe is like the ultimate beta to majors at this point. It really is. And I'm just like, you look at the like crypto industry charts, like total 2, total 3. You look at others as well. It's like we are at a very, very, very key level. And the reason why I say that is like, it's like if we dip, it's just going to get sucked back up immediately and it's some V-shaped recovery. Like a dip probably is going to be pretty gnarly. There is quite some distance between where we're at now and our next structural support, and a move back out of that likely takes some longer form of reaccumulation, you know, especially with the distribution, with us being at new all-time highs and us failing to break through them, right? You got to think that, you know, we need to build up kind of some more energy to really be able to push back through, you know, all-time highs.
Well, I mean, when we talk about Bitcoin building energy, you know, it's Bitcoin is building energy at value area high. The pendulum's getting ready to swing, right? That volume, like I said, it's building. Are we about to see kind of that big move up, or are we going to see it, because we are at resistance, be a downside move, like you said, Prometheus, and take down potentially the rest of the market? But you look at these charts in comparison, it's pretty obvious the importance of this inflection point. Like, look at Sol and Pepe. We're at support. Support's got to hold. 100K, 102K has got to hold.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Now that looks like it wants to. That looks like it wants that low you marked out. I'm not gonna.
Yeah.
That is bleeding through support.
Yep.
Jeez.
It's a limp meat pattern right there.
Was that total 3 or others? Oh yeah.
This is others. Yeah. Yeah, this is others because I mean you came back down, this candle should have been like the low, the wick low on that. Truthfully speaking. And I mean, sure, you could backfill that wick. But yeah, like you said, we're now starting to bleed back down below, and others definitely looks like it wants a little bit lower. There's a new chart that I really like, 203 ES Bitcoin. Really, really like this chart.
When do we think we're going to get a total 4?
Can't be too.
That's a good question. It's a good question.
Dude, okay, hold on.
Yeah, I mean, you want this to be pretty much it. From a cyclical perspective, we have, deviated range lows. And typically once you deviate range lows, it usually happens over a few weeks before we accept back up into this range. Similar to what Tommy was saying, if you break down here and you accept back up into, the range on ETH, it's pretty much a free long, very similar to what we have here. So this is total 3, excluding Bitcoin, ETH, and stablecoins in relation to Bitcoin. And just gives us a great perspective, kind of historically what's happened, kind of where we're, what we're expecting. I mean, we've deviated the range lows twice in the previous cycles, and then that occurs over a few week period, give or take, and then the acceptance back in above that range low then turns that to a deviation SFP and then higher. So would really like to see this area hold, truthfully speaking.
Maybe we do get the deviation.
I think we're getting it right now, potentially. That's what I was looking at. It's this potentially being the deviation. All-time high shenanigans, yada, 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 before the ultimate breakout ensues. And then we really see, total 3 and alts do what they're supposed to do. So I know it's been something that's been stubborn for a lot of people, especially with how many of the market participants have positioned, and altcoins really not behaving in a manner and a fashion in which we that most expected going into this cycle. That's for sure. We've had pockets of outperformance, but
what are some of the stronger altcoins in the market right now? If chat wants to help us, I know some of the DeFi protocols have been stronger, like an Aave, a Maker. I haven't quite looked at them, in a few days, but I know they've been stronger than the rest of the market. I think Bitcoin Cash has been pretty strong.
Bitcoin Cash, haven't heard that name in a
Wait,
long
the
time.
dinos are being strong.
Just Bitcoin Cash.
Is Link and Uni doing anything? Are Link and Uni doing anything?
Link looks pretty good, but I mean,
Link's got that pattern that a lot of altcoins have painted this cycle, where it's like should go up here, bleeds out.
Yeah. And it's one of those things, like if you long it, it's going to be really, really, really hard to time from, it's going to be really hard to time that big move up, but that move up is going to be monstrous. Similar to what we saw in Doge. Like if you like look at Doge, right? Very similar chart. You know, building this, you know, bullish market structure, have, you know, big pops in between, but really long periods of bleeding. And then if you're able to catch this move, then you know, you print it. But it's been tough. They've been tough to catch. But I mean, structurally, like even Doge looks like really good zoomed out. Like this looks like, and it's same with Link, like parabola almost is like ensuing.
Yeah, no, it doesn't look bad at all.
'Cause you got like all these higher lows.
Yeah, I
Same with
mean, it
Link.
looks kind of similar to that last bottom before it ran up again. Like, yeah, right there, you know, like it's probably just gonna
Mhm.
chop around in there for a minute. Yeah, something like that.
But because usually what happens too, what I've noticed is when you have these big, like big moves on charts like this, um, you know, the basing structure that occurs afterwards before it has its next pump is usually longer. So could take, you know, quite a bit more time before you really see that next big move on Chainlink. But did you see Chainlink JP was it JP Morgan's using Chainlink for their
I mean, I
stablecoin?
believe it. It's one of, I would argue Chainlink is like a top 3 or 4 most useful product in all of crypto, but I also don't think it needs a token because
Yeah, no,
that product doesn't really accrue value to the token.
no, not at
Yeah.
all. Not at all. I mean, Chainlink is partners with everybody, like everybody. Like I remember when all those partnerships came around in 2021. It's like we're partnering with Oracle, we're partnering with like whoever. I'm like, dude. But it never really translated. I mean, it translated a little bit into price in 21. Obviously, that was more so money printer related. But you know, yeah, I agree. Like, it's an Oracle. Like that's all it is. So
To me, it's like not worth the risk to hold a coin with that much volatility. For, I mean, like what is the upside on Link?
140.
Oh, and then the amount of time you'll have to hold it.
yeah,
I
Yeah.
think too. It's a difficult coin to want to hold for me for those reasons. But
Yeah.
you know, I'm
It's
not
not capital
necessarily
efficient.
what?
It's not capital efficient.
Yeah. I mean, that's what you can just buy a meme coin for, right? Or even Aave outperforming it. I think that's kind of like there are so many altcoins now that the most bearish case for a lot of them is that there's just a better expression of the same beta that they're supposed to represent. No, I did not take the fart coin short. I literally called the fart coin Pico top. I think it was last week on market check. And it's like, I think fart coin's a short here. And that was, I think that was the day that we had the escalation and had that like huge sell-off candle out of nowhere. And yeah, fart coin, man. No, I did not take it. Many such cases. Don't even think about holding a link bat if your vitamin D levels are low. Tucker, are you still holding Link? I know you used to be a Marine. For a long time, you were a Marine.
Link, no. Not probably in maybe a year, maybe a little over a year. But yeah, no. For a while, I mean, it was like 2021 cycle, and then kind of like through the bear market, honestly. And then I was like, all right, man, like this thing is just, it's not it. But it was a beast back then, man. It was a beast.
I mean, in the 2021 cycle, it was an absolute monster.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It was a monster.
God, I missed that. I was looking at some 2021 charts, as I do yesterday, and it's just like, I can't believe the size of that bubble. Like, you look at Solana and you look at the full price history of it, and there was this small, tiny little consolidation and a few bucks, like worth a few bucks in the range. And then you just see it go vertical out of the range, 10, 11x within a few weeks. And I know a lot of that has to do with FTX crime, but still, like, damn, I miss those pumps on altcoins.
Let me pull it up real quick. You're talking about Link, right?
No, Sol.
Yeah,
I'm just thinking about like Sol back in 2021.
Also, others chart, man. I mean, identical. Like, let's get real. Like, identical. So, but all right, let's do Sol. Oh yeah, this was Max's. Max. Oh, fuck. I don't know about that, but yeah, this. You talking about this? Or are you talking about even before?
I'm talking about the other one, the one before it. It's like,
Yeah.
you zoom out and you see that. If you were trading that, would you have expected that to mark all the way up to like $45 in just a few months? Not this
No.
cycle.
No,
Dude, I remember seeing Solana at like $2-3 on Coinbase, and like taking one of those, like, you know, information tests that they had to get, like, they give you like free, like a few bucks.
Yeah.
And I like took it and I was like, oh, this like looks interesting. Dude, I should have just full ported.
Dude, I did all of those little tests.
Oh yeah.
I did all of it. Yeah.
It's like, give me that free money.
Yeah. They quit doing that, didn't they? I don't think they do that anymore.
Oh yeah, they don't do that shit anymore. No.
Dude, they had, okay, do you guys remember the Coinbase debit card last cycle?
Yes.
Yes.
Because that thing, you could get 4% on everything, and you pick your token you wanted, and I did like the graph or something, and like just a shit coin. And they had to quit doing that because the shit was fucking, the shit was pumping way too hard, and they were having to pay out like way too much money. So they quit doing the debit card, but that was epic for a couple of months.
I missed that. I really missed that period, man. Graph was one of the first coins that I found. I didn't really like invest in it for very long, but
yeah,
the internet coin, or the internet of blockchain, something like that. What does that even mean?
like IoT.
Yeah. That feeling out period of your first like 2 or 3 weeks getting serious about altcoins, and you're like, damn, there are a lot of these things. How do I pick the right ones?
Yeah.
Good times. Let's see. What other charts should we take a look at? Damn.
Look at that candle. Jeez.
Adam. Yeah, I remember Adam too.
Of course, bro.
Oh, I didn't even know I was screen sharing.
Yeah, I put you back up.
Oh, you put me back up. Yeah, we caught this. Perks of being a gold member of the Discord. You know. Yeah, what other, let's look at some dinos. Let's go back down memory lane. I'm curious.
Uni, man. Uni.
Oh god, dude.
Uni.
Do I think AI16Z is a short to zero?
Probably.
Their X got deleted. That's pretty funny.
Yeah, it's to zero.
I honestly kind of am looking at these Sol meme coins. They kind of all look like they're gonna go to zero, even the ones that I like, which makes me sad.
XMR, that's a good one. Zcash, another dino.
Oh, bro, okay. My dad last cycle, right? He was at some customer's office, and he's like, "Oh yeah, like these his son like told him about this crypto, and it's like Bitcoin, but there's less of them, and so it's gonna go up way more than Bitcoin." I'm not even kidding. I'm not even kidding. To the day, I top blasted Zcash at The
Pico top.
Schmiko top. I paid $360 for one Zcash.
Oh no. Oh no.
Oh my god.
If it makes you feel better, Prometheus, I once top blasted my now wife. She wanted me to invest in crypto for her. I
Wait,
bought
whoa.
$21 sushi.
Oh,
Think about that for a second.
Pull up
we gotta pull that.
Litecoin, though. Pull up
You gotta
Litecoin.
you gotta be careful using those words in confluence with one another.
Yeah, that's
By the way, Tommy. That's
Which
that
one?
sentence.
what you
My wife top blasted.
yeah, you said something. Yeah. Wait, where?
$21.
Where was it?
Oh no.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, I top blasted that candle.
Which one? This one? This one's
No, the
not as
second
if
one.
you. Oh
second
no!
one.
The day before. Oh god.
Pull
Iota.
up IOTA.
And then at the same time, like I invested my mom into Matic, and she caught an 8x.
Jeez.
It
Oh
was
my
like altcoin season in 2021 was just different.
Yeah.
You had to be
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
It was glorious, bro.
That's just the dragon that we're all chasing is 2021's
Yep.
season, bro.
Isn't the IOTA dev the cubic dev?
No.
Pretty sure. I'm pretty sure.
Well, both charts look pretty similar, so
Dude, let me show you what I this was oh man, this was rough. This was my introduction. You can't even see it on this, right? Look at this. All right, so I bought Litecoin right here at like $90. I watched it go all the way. This doesn't even, it went to like $420, I'm pretty sure. And then I think I got out right about here. Oh man, dude. Yeah, that was 2017, 2018. Dude, is this chart gonna go up ever?
Litecoin
No.
looks good, man.
You said
It looks good.
why would Litecoin go up ever again?
It's a
I mean,
great
like
question.
the chart in theory looks good in the sense that it's accumulation.
From a
Kind
catalyst
of looks like
perspective.
XRP.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
From
I
a catalyst perspective, it's like what is there?
The dev isn't even holding the token, which I think is you need somebody who wants to commit crime so that they can sell their token at the highest prices possible.
Didn't Charlie
Speaking of-
Lee get out like up here though?
Yeah, he sold the top, the Pico top.
Yeah.
He was the top.
Yeah.
Speaking of people pumping their bags with crime, what do you guys think about Tron here?
Oh, TRN.
The thing's gonna absolutely send eventually. Like,
Wow, look at this
oh,
fucking profile.
whoa. Is that the full price history?
No, hang on.
Oh, okay.
That's the full price history.
Wow.
Doesn't change
Yeah.
a whole lot.
Ridiculous chart, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know he's laundering for like some anonymous organizations.
Can you put the Tether market cap on that?
What do you think is going to be going? Oh wait, no. That's not right. That's not the market cap. Sorry.
Yeah, can we get the market cap? I bet they're fairly correlated.
Market cap.
Well.
Well. Yeah.
The secret ingredient is crime.
Interesting. I mean, yeah, look where this is the. I mean, look where it topped before this pulled back a little bit. I mean, that was perfect. That was literally perfect. Like, that's the only red candles on this market cap chart for a while. So,
I mean, he's got a monopoly on a lot of tether. Justin Sun is a dangerous man.
How many ETH tokens does he hold? It's like millions.
Dude, who knows? I mean, Huobi's open interest has perplexed me for a long time. There's like 1 million coins. Not $1 million, 1 million coins of ETH in OI on Huobi. Nobody is slinging that much size on that exchange except for Justin Sun. And
yeah,
that's
sure.
a lot of ether.
A lot of ether. Yeah.
That's insane.
Bitcoin is doing absolutely nothing right now.
Jack all, dude. I mean, the past 3 weeks, dude, 4 weeks. And you know, the thing about it is we probably get potentially another like week or two of this continuation.
Yep.
From a structural perspective, I don't know if price can really handle another week or two of no resolution, but
I'd be stunned if we're still here a week from now. Like, absolutely stunned. I mean, we've got it really needs to move higher within the next few days because we've got a bear moon coming up on the 25th.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Well, I thought we had like a bullish strawberry moon. I heard Ponzi talking about that.
That was this one, I'm pretty sure.
I want to say it was supposed to be bullish last year too, and it wasn't. I
Oh,
remember because I got psyoped by the strawberry moon last year.
Yeah.
The question is, why would we go
like
up?
5 days left.
Summer solstice on Friday. Isn't it Saturday? I guess it's Friday night at midnight, but it's the 21st. Yeah, Saturday. Tomorrow. Wait, geez, I'm on the 4 hour. Yeah.
Summer solstice is tomorrow?
Yeah.
Let's go. Longest day of the year.
Isn't that right? It's not July 21st, is it?
No.
Yeah, this is right. Oh, it's today at 9:42 p.m. according to Google.
Friday at 9:42, you said?
Yeah, so tonight at 9:42 p.m.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have no idea what that means for my shit coins, but
I don't either. I don't either.
What?
Something's gonna happen.
I will say Jupiter left Gemini on June 9th, which I did have marked out as a bearish date for assets.
Wait,
I'm kind of fading it, but also
Tommy, that was the top, man. Why didn't you?
I know.
No.
I mean, this whole like last part of the, I won't call it the last part of the bull run yet because we don't know, but this whole like most recent leg of the bull was since Jupiter entered, or since Gemini entered Jupiter, whichever one enters the other. I don't really know. But it's usually bullish for markets when that's the case, and it was bullish for Trump to be elected, and is now no longer in Jupiter as of the 9th. So that was a date that I had marked out, and I am still kind of actively fading. I guess we'll see.
Yeah.
But now that we've dipped into the astrology part of the show, it's probably a good time to wrap it up.
Yeah.
we hope you guys enjoyed the show today. Just sending you off on your weekend. Happy Friday. Bit of like a weird week. We had a holiday in between. We've had a lot of headline risk. I can't imagine that's going to end anytime soon. We also kind of hopefully got a deadline per se, as far as when we could see this conflict potentially reaching a resolution. Fingers crossed. Before the 4th of July. Maybe it lasts all the way up until your holiday, though. We'll see. But nevertheless, we will be here to cover it with you guys today, or not today, but over the next few weeks. If you enjoyed the show today, Market Check will be back for another episode on Monday. A reminder that we are live Monday through Friday with a typical start time around 11:15 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And also make sure to tune in to Market Talk, hosted by the legendary King Wabi. That is Spaces on X, hosted through our Because Bitcoin account, as well as Wabi's personal account. So make sure to stay following and subscribed to both of those so you can be notified ahead of time, not just when we schedule those spaces, but also when we go live. We will not be we won't be doing the regular product shills, but we will be talking about the BB terminal, guys, just a little bit, and then I'm going to run an ad here as you depart the stream. But yeah, I mean, the BB terminal, we say it every day. It will be your go-to tool for this cycle, whether or not you're an active trader, trading lower time frames, a long-term investor, or whether or not you're an on-chain market participant, whether that's memes or DeFi. I promise you will find huge utility out of the BB terminal. That's not just us saying it. It's not just a product for experts either. It's a product that has functionalities for beginners as well. Yeah, I mean, there's a little something for everybody on the BB terminal. And we were nice enough to give you access for free to our portfolio tracking as well. So you can get your foot in the door, no charges, and you can try out the BB terminal, see a little bit what I'm talking about. But yeah, that's it for today's show. We hope that you guys enjoyed it, like I said, and we'll be back on Monday. But until then, thanks again, as always. And of course, stay safe.
Tired of outdated trading tools, confused charts, dozens of tabs, endless stress? You're not alone. Introducing BB Terminal, your all-in-one command center for crypto trading. Track your portfolio, monitor the markets, stay ahead, all in one place. From chaos to clarity, from struggle to success. BB Terminal,